Welcome back to the Trackmania games, where we are ready now to head on into the mixed duo bracket. Just very quickly, I mean, looking across how seeding went, I don't think there has been any major surprises. Nobody who we really expected to make it who has ended up missing out. Nobody who we're particularly shocked at this point to see in 64 teams, Padster, is a lot of teams.
Yeah, it is a lot of teams. There's a lot of capacity for the kind of expected strong teams to make mistakes and still get through. So, not the biggest thing to see a lack of surprise at this stage, but it is going to be interesting to see how kind of the bracket is now starting to form up with all these teams slotting in.
Yeah, Formal, I think maybe the most entertaining thing that's happened in the bracket is, two USA teams up against each other in round one. Maybe still not the most exciting match in round one, but definitely the funniest match of round one.
I mean, yes, it is. Kind of bite my tongue a little bit about, the U.S. Civil War, if you want to call it that. Go for it. Funny stuff there. But no, definitely, it's a mix of fortunate and unfortunate. Guarantees one of them moving on, one of them dropping low. I'm still celebrating both Australian teams got through. I know everybody else here, they're used to both their squads getting in, but I'm happy for Australia. We got through. I see an Ireland team up there, Noah, so you get to celebrate for once as well. This is good. Everyone wins, it feels like.
Yay.
Yeah, super exciting. It's a large bracket. We'll scroll through it quickly here. I will say, Twiggy, the match we're going to be watching here in round one, Finland 1 versus Brazil 1. I think potentially the closest match that we could see across the bracket anyway. Mi Quattro and Clear Vision up against Matt and Radia. Should be an interesting match.
Yeah, I think so. I think we saw Brazil having a couple of difficult times on a couple of the maps, but definitely overall we're putting together good times as well. I definitely think Finland, from what I saw in the seedings, although, obviously we didn't get like a massively good view.
At?
Yeah, this doesn't seem right.
Netherlands won. I like their opponent right
I did also see two Great Britain won versus Ukraine's in that, so unless we've found a way to duplicate the teams.
Yeah. Hey, listen, as always, the bracket is available on the tmgames.gear5.org website, or head on over to Circuitmania. Brackets are available there as well. For now, we're going to say goodbye to Twiggy. We're also going to say goodbye for the moment to Max Formal and Padster. Yeah, Twiggy being taken out back behind the shed. Uma Musume has broken their leg. And listen, who knows?
I'll just go. Hold on.
Just go. Just get out of here, frankly. I've lost.
Oh, no.
Okay.
There
you go.
All right. Hello, G-Geek. Welcome. We still have a little car on screen. If anyone wants to drive across our face, feel free.
Between us.
Yeah. G-Geek, we're heading into this match. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it just there, but Finland versus Brazil. I mean, I think both nations would... it's on your eyeball, man. Both teams
oh, no.
looking...
No. My right eye! Oh, oh man, this is going off the rails already, isn't it? I mean, it might as well go off the rails because it's only the first round. So yeah, Brazil 1 versus Finland 1. So Mi Quattro and Clear Vision versus Matat and Radiak. So Matat, or Matt, for those of you who are a little bit longer followers of the Trackmania scene, making a return, of course, to the Trackmania games, as the game is slowly but surely getting started. And honestly, given that this is round 1, I don't exactly know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, look, we were kind of looking at it. I think a lot of these round 1 matches, we know what to expect. I'm kind of looking at Australia 1 versus Lithuania 2. And I mean, there's decent players on the Lithuanian side, but there's a lot of very good players on the Australian side, elsewhere on the leaderboard. Netherlands 1 versus Singapore 1. Again, I think there's a lot of matches that I think you can call pretty cleanly in round 1 of this. However, this Finland versus Brazil match, I think, definitely is a little bit more up in the air than some of our other options were for games in this first round, given that we do have Mi Quattro playing on the Finland side, did quite well, but maybe we expected a slightly better performance in the mixed solo. And then Matt over on the Brazilian side, I think, has been a very good player, like maybe a little bit underrated over the last couple of years. There's a chance. I still think, G-Geek, that Finland are the favorites in this match. I do think there's a chance Brazil upset them.
Yeah, I think there's a potential for upsets that is definitely there. And as I said, I don't know what to expect, and that's very much the match that is bucking the trend compared to the rest of the round, which, as you said, most of the matches you can call pretty cleanly. This one gives us at least a little bit of spice to think about as we are set to start on the Bourdon by Leroy and Feed, which was the pick for Team Finland, who get the first pick as a result of their higher qualifying performance compared to Team Brazil. And given that it's a little bit wild, do you want to go for some wild predictions? I want to go with the upset side and say Brazil 2-1.
Okay, yeah. Listen, I said Finland, I think, take it, and I do think it'll be close. I'm hoping that the losing team, whoever it ends up being, manages to take a match. I will say Finland 2-1 in that vein. I will say I think Mi Quattro is going to be consistently, at the very least, competing for first, if not locking down first place in most of these rounds. And as we've seen before, G-Geek, when you're in this duo format, if you have a player in first place in every round, literally can't lose, right?
Yeah, exactly. You absolutely cannot lose in that particular sense. Also, I guess this is a good time to explain some of the format to some of the people that may be a little bit newer. It's the 2v2 format that you've seen in the more recent part of Trackmania, with the Trackmania World Tour in 2023 and 2025 most recently. And we do have a few changes. It's the best of 3, given the fact that we have 3 maps in the map pack, but as a result, we have not a first to 10, it's a first to 15, so it's going to be a bit of a longer road, so extra time to allocate in terms of time between maps, as we do see Mr. Nua trying to make way for the car, continuing to wander around his area of the screen. And with that out of the way, it's time to go racing, ladies and gentlemen. The warm-up is done on Bordeaux, and the match is underway now. And so we should get to the screen of the game. There we go, with Mi Quattro, Clear Vision, Matat, and Radiaxo now on the track.
Yeah, I can't wait for TM Games 2027 when Twitch chat gets to enter as a nation as well and compete with their chat controls as well. Here's what we're expecting. I mean, it's Mi Quattro out front. It is going to be the Brazilians a little bit slower off the start line on this first round as well, and that's going to be Radia crashing near the start of the round 2, where we've seen players going for the bonk. I'm not even sure Radia was going for the bonk on it just there, but just falling behind a little bit. I am impressed, G-Geek. Clear Vision keeping up with Mi Quattro up front as well, and that's, if you're a Finnish fan, if you want to see this team making a deep run, I think that's what you have to see over the course of this bracket.
Yeah, exactly. So far, Clear Vision managing to keep pace with his team leader, as Matat unfortunately hits the wall on the left-hand side before checkpoint number 8 and the pass into the grass as we go to the finish line with Team Finland, who will clock in a 55.602 for Mi Quattro, a 10th and a half clear of his teammate, and it will be the first ace of the match going the way of the blue side, with 3-0 going the way of Finland.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a pretty clean win for Mi Quattro and Clear Vision on that one. Ace for Team Finland. And you pointed it out, right? We're going to 15 points instead of 10. The one thing that does not really change much about is if a match is pretty one-sided. As again, I think we're going to see a lot of quite one-sided matches in this opening round of the mixed duo bracket, because all it means is it takes 5 rounds to ace your opponents 5 times instead of 4 rounds, right? It's 1 extra round per match, or 2 extra rounds per match if you 2-0 them as well. And I had high hopes for this match. I was hoping that Matt in particular, and Radia as well, were going to be able to really bring the fight to Finland. But right now they're just kind of struggling, and we're seeing what happens a lot of the time when you're kind of pushing beyond what you're comfortable with, just trying to keep up with the pace. You're past what's comfortable, and the mistakes start to come through.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, Matat set the ambiance a little bit earlier on. He was asked if he was driving, yes, and he said mostly crashing. So maybe that kind of set the tone for what Brazil's match was going to be looking like in terms of upheaval battle against Team Finland, who will score a 2nd consecutive ace with a 55.598 courtesy Mi Quattro, just over 2/10 clear of his teammate Clear Vision. 6-0 as we go into round number 3. And yeah, we've been talking a little bit about this amongst ourselves, and yeah, there is 1 extra round extracted due to the fact that we move on to a first to 15, but in these early rounds, that might be working out to the best part of 1.5 minutes, tops 2 minutes tops extra per match. So it's not really going to be changing much of the course of the early part of the bracket, as we do see a bit of a split strategy on the way to checkpoint number 3. Clear Vision opting for the wall bang, whereas Mi Quattro goes for the conventional strat.
Yeah, it will be Clear Vision in front of his teammate now for the first time in a while. Brazil much closer this time around as we head further through the track. Matt, unfortunately, on the plastic, a little bit wide. He's swinging on out of there, and an awkward landing means he continues to drop down. But Radia up front contesting. This might not be the 5 aces back-to-back. I don't love this line through the dirt, though. Radia losing a lot of speed, bouncing all over the place as well. And looking just at the taillights of those two finished cars in front, a final crash is going to put Radia completely out of the round. Matt is in the wall on the dirt as well. And so Finland, third ace in a row, little bit closer that time for part of the round, but Brazil unable to keep up. And it's again, just trying to keep up is causing them to push, is causing them to take risks they're not comfortable with in G-Geek. That's causing the crashes.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit out of reach for now, on at least on Bourdon with for Team Brazil compared to Team Finland. As we go on to round number 4, we've had 3 consecutive aces so far for Team Finland. Can they make it 4 in a row? The answer in just under 50 seconds time, and already a first element of a response, of an answer being sent, with Matt unfortunately slowing down dramatically on checkpoint number 1 just before the entry into the dirt. And now it's Radiaxel's turn to actually slow down dramatically on the hairpin at checkpoint number 3. So Clear Vision and Miquatro with a clear road ahead, and Clear Vision actually pulling ahead of his teammate by almost 0.3 of a second on the way to sector number 2.
Yeah, looking good for Clear Vision, and this is kind of what you want to see. I have a lot of respect for Miquatro as a player. Has been really good ever since I was watching him back in the Challenger League days in 2023 as well. And I mean, I've high hopes for this Finnish duo as we go deeper into this mixed show, especially now seeing Clear Vision looking so solid on our opening track.
Yeah, currently Clear Vision looking very, very solid indeed, even though at the very end, it's going to be Miquatro taking the round win with a 55.507, currently consistently in the mid-55s. We're not feeling like dipping into the low 55s. We're not at this stage of the tournament just yet. Maybe for some of the some of the teams that are more towards the sharp end of the field, maybe it's a possibility that we would see early low 55s, 0.3s, 0.2s, 0.1s, maybe even dip into the 54s if you're feeling pretty spicy. But I feel like this is not really the time to really indulge into those kinds of really, really stout times. I think it will go at the very least from round 2 onwards, if not later.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see, but you're right. I mean, why risk it? You know, why push for those? Because again, we're seeing, unfortunately, from the Brazilian squad, what happens when you do push yourself too aggressively on time in these rounds. Brazil are having to push on pace just to try and keep up with Finland, who are looking incredibly comfortable on our opening track. And yeah, why go for the world record when you can just comfortably get 5 aces and get out of the match into the next round?
Yeah, exactly. And also for Brazil, this is going to be a chance to kind of get this map out of the way and regroup for their next map, their net picks, which is going to be Cryomass, which is going to be coming up in about a minute or two. 55.610 for Miquatro compared to a 714 for Clear Vision. 15-0 the final score for Finland against Brazil, who lead 1-0. That is a very tough entry to the tournament for both Matt and Radiaxo, and they're going to have the chance to kind of like redeem themselves with Cryomass. But honestly, with what we've seen so far and how the tone was set for Matt a little bit earlier on during the game, the chances are looking pretty slim for Brazil to make it past round 1 in the winner bracket at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? There is at least a loser bracket for all of these teams, and I think our next round of competition in the mixed show, as we get past this first round, as we have all the teams that kind of easily made it through seeding and easily make it through their round 1 start to collide in the upper bracket. And of course, there's some of these teams that just about kind of scrape their way into the bracket as well through seeding start to collide in the lower bracket. Matches are going to spice up very, very quickly. We're going to start to see more of the impact that this 15-point limit versus 10-point limit is having on the maps individually as well. But it is worth noting, yeah, that map 1 was Finland's pick as the higher seed. So we are at least heading to Cryomass. We are heading to Brazil's pick. This is the map they chose to go second, right? I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of variance in terms of which maps teams are prepared for, but hopefully, maybe Brazil a little bit more comfortable on map 2 and maybe a chance that they're going to give themselves a shot at map 3.
Yeah, hopefully for Brazil, this will be the one that allows them to get some momentum going. I was going to say momentum back, but they didn't have any momentum to begin with on Bourdon. I'm sorry to be a little bit harsh on there, but that's really saying the cold hard facts the way that we were seeing it on the screen. But yeah, Matt and Radiaxo looking to actually get some momentum build up and actually going their way as the warm-up is about to end in a few seconds. And the match is back underway with the start of map number 2. Cryomass is now go.
Yeah, we're live on to Cryomass. 4 cars leave the start line. We'll see who the first one to put their car in a wall is. Radia with a pretty clean start just there, getting very close to the wall. Got too close to the wall. That's a clip, and Radia will be the first player to drop back just a little bit. And once again, we're seeing the 2 Finnish drivers make their way out in front of the 2 cars in red. Miquattro and Clear Vision, wheel to wheel. I mean, one thing I will say for the Finnish squad as well, they've been incredibly consistent. Both of them driving very similar lines, very similar times. I mean, they're going to be a tough squad to beat unless you just handily have them on pace.
Yeah, exactly. So far, going on to sector number 3, we see Miquattro pulling away with a quite handy gap of around 0.3 to 0.4 of a second compared to Clear Vision at the moment. As we go on to sector number 3 with checkpoints 10, 11, the double right-hander, we go a little bit too close to the apex, too early from Atat, and thus hit the neon, not quite the neon, but the wall surrounding the neon side first. And look at Clear Vision, the great speed he carries through to the grass, allowing him to overtake his teammate into the finish block with a 58.542 courtesy of Clear Vision, a 10th ahead of his teammate. And with that, it will be a 6th consecutive ace in 6 rounds for Team Finland as they lead 3-0.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit one-sided out there at the moment. I mean, hey, it kind of started off one-sided right from round 1. And I'm just, listen, G-Geek, I gotta be honest, I'm scrolling through the bracket. I'm trying to figure out, is there a match we missed that was going to be much closer than this? And I'm like, hang on. Points for Brazil. Points for Brazil are on the board. G-Geek, lock in.
Yeah, that might be the moment where both the players and the casters are locking in, because this might be the first time that Brazil goes on the board. Here we go, indeed, with Radiaxio this time taking up the reins and actually sounding the charge against Team Finland. He's going toe-to-toe with Clear Vision right now, as Miquattro has fallen all the way down the leaderboard, and Clear Vision respawns!
No.
And with that, Finland might be handing the ace on a silver plate for Brazil. Radiaxo emerges in the lead by 0.7 of a second ahead of his teammate Matat, and we now go onto the finish line. Radiaxo logs in at 58.512, 0.9 ahead of his teammate, and Brazil is on the board and wipe the slate clean here on Cryomass. 3-3 as we head into round 3.
It's not how I thought it was going to go. 6 aces in a row. I thought, yeah, Brazil, surely they get someone into second place at some point. It's a counter ace. It's tied after 2 rounds on Cryomass, and that's potentially a little bit of a wake-up call for the Finnish as well. We were talking about at the top of the match, right? We do think these are solid players from Brazil. They've been struggling to get into the match a little bit, but if Finland take their foot off the gas, and all of a sudden Brazil could come back at them. I mean, here is the 2 Brazilian players sticking close to Finland this time around. They are still 3rd and 4th, and there's the first touch. It's Matt who will drop away from the other 3 cars. It's up to Radia to try and get something done.
Yeah, up to Radiaxo not to try and get something done as he goes very wide on the way up the left-hander until checkpoint number 9. And look at Finland just sprinting away into the distance. Radia can only do anything but watch and pray for mistakes like Clear Vision had. Goes a little bit too close to the left-hand side at the intro of the chicane before checkpoint 11. Hits the neon side on. Radia and Matat up to 1st and 2nd, and it is going to be a tie as a result of that round, or a draw, rather, as far as the round scenario is concerned. 4-4 as we head into round number 4. Miquattro clocking in a respectable time of a 58.305, but still, like, Clear Vision, again opening the door for Brazil to try and get some points on the board and actually cling onto a slight chance of getting into map 3.
Yeah, there's a chance, right? I mean, especially with this 15-point limit as well, it does take a little bit longer for either team to make an advantage stick. You can't kind of lightning round your opponents, just get 3 aces in a row, and then all of a sudden all you need is a draw. You do need to kind of be the distinctly better team on a map, and that's touches from 2 players, and Radia's not as impactful as Clear Vision's, who lost more speed on the exit, and so it's, again, into a draw position.
And again, it's Clear Vision for the 2nd round in a row who's going to be kind of like lighting the spark for Team Brazil to try and get some points back into the bank. Miquattro still handily in the lead by about 0.3 of a second. Goes very close to the outside wall on the slingshot, and look who comes back in the perspective of Radiaxo. Clear Vision looking to make this a victory for Team Finland number 1, and he's going to make it happen as Radia goes too wide in the grass road. Matat does get a new personal best, but it's all no use. Miquattro 1st, Clear Vision 3rd, and it will be Finland retaking the lead 6-5.
you do have to give credit to Clear Vision there, who had a slightly worse touch than Radia. Remember, both of them made the same mistake in the same place. It was just Clear Vision losing more speed, but holding on, not losing focus, and managing to come back. I'm going to say it, I don't think MTAT is coming back this round. That's a big mistake. That's a big double respawn, and that is going to be a multi-second gap. How can Radia do up front, though? Lost speed on the exit. I think just lost the gear on the exit from the dirt, and so overtaken by both Finnish cars. That's kind of tragic. It looked for a second like Radia was having the best round we've seen one of the Brazilians have yet. Still up and in the mix, though, fighting Clear Vision.
Yeah, do not count Radia out, however, like MTAT, who went for a very, very optimistic and very delayed entry into the very first isolate of the map, and thus costing him a double respawn, finding himself 6 seconds back. Now Radia trying to fight tooth and nail against Clear Vision for the benefit of second position and bring at least 1 point on the board for Team Brazil. And again, look at the attack from Clear Vision to the line and go! Radia manages to resist the attack of Clear Vision by 23 milliseconds and keeps scoring points for Team Brazil, who are just going to see Finland move away by 1 point instead of a potential 3 points. 8-6, still in favor of the main Finland team, but Radia is absolutely holding the fort here for the Brazilians.
One of the things I was going to point out on this next round is there's the right-hand turn late in the track that leads into the dirt downhill, and Brazil are just taking it too tightly a lot of the time. That's a slide out from Clear Vision. He's gone. He's out of the round. Interesting. That right hand, Brazil have been taking it a little bit too tight, is what it looks like, and it's kind of losing them speed on the dirt downhill following it as well. But listen, I don't know if I can criticize it. Radia sniped that round by being really tight on the finish line compared to Clear Vision. Radia is going to be completely out of this round. It's this right-hander coming up. Well, no, not just yet. Hang on a second, G-Geek. Hang on. It's this right-hander coming up after. No, hang on. I know the track, G-Geek, okay?
There's this one. Third time's the charm.
It's this right-hander into the dirt that the Brazilians have just been taking a little bit too close. They're not setting up wide enough around the actual drift, and so the Finnish team are just catching them on the dirt downhill repeatedly. But yeah, look, I mean, incredible from the Brazilians, who are staying alive in this. Clear Vision crashed again, by the way. That's a draw. Brazil stay 2 points down.
Yeah, Clear Vision had, not only he had a crash, but he had also a very, very big nose slide on the way to checkpoint number 7. You actually got to see that a little bit on the stream, and don't worry, guys, just bear with us. We know our way around the track. It just we just have our own little GPS in our brain recalculating the route every second. So it feels like we've come back 20 years when actual navigation didn't work. In the meantime, we go on to our next round. It's still 2 points of a lead only for Team Finland. Brazil still hanging in there, and it will be Mats who's going to be hanging towards the tail end of the field, but not by that far. He's 2 tenths down, sure, but compared to what we saw in the previous rounds, this is still perfectly acceptable right now for MTAT, as Radiaxio is continuing to fight tooth and nail against Clear Vision. This is a closer fight between these two than what we first anticipated after what we saw on Bordeaux. In the meantime, sector number 3, it will be Mi4 with the best snap, and Clear Vision again under threat from Radiaxio as we go on to checkpoint 10-11. Look at how close he goes to the Neon on the inside of the chicane before checkpoint 11 in the downhill right-hander, and look at the comeback from Clear Vision in the grass road. Can Radia try to pull something at the finish? The answer is a yes for 200ths of a second. Clear Vision going way too wide. Radia going for the corner line at the risky fin. Still 1 point of an advantage to Team Finland, who now have 1 ace of an advantage in the scoring overall, 11-8 as we move on to the next round.
Clear Vision is distinctly and straight up, and he's just faster than Radia on those kind of the last grass section, that last drift coming into it as well, the dirt before it as well. Clear Vision is just faster than Radia. Radia just has a better end by far, and it's worked out twice now to be a snipe for the Brazilian player, keeping Brazil just about alive. I mean, it is life support right now, but I think without those 2 snipes, G-Geek, this match is already over. Or at the very least, we're already on kind of like 14 points to 6 for Finland, and the scoreboard looks very different. Radia having a great map and looking maybe to catch back up. Once again, though, just going to lose a little bit of ground on this dirt downhill. Needs an incredible end this time around. Needs the grass to go flawlessly. Needs to be in range for this snipe. I don't think it's close enough, and it will be an ace for Finland, who do now move to 14 points, and they are on match points.
They are on match point, and it looks likely to be the final round here on this very match, given how Brazil, they were able to get a counter ace early on, but after that, the magic was just not there yet. Radia having an absolute worldie of a map for Brazil, number 1, and managing to get some valuable snipes in there, as you said. Without those snipes, it would have been already at 14 points way before this point, but he was managing to hold the fort super well. And again, he looks to actually go out without a bang. He's actually going toe-to-toe with Clear Vision for the lead at the end of Sector 1.
Yeah, looking close. I think just a little bit more airtime on the exit from the dirt there from Radia, like a split second, a thousandth of airtime, and it has dropped away from Clear Vision back into MiQuatro's clutches. MTAT, our cameraman for this race, that's a double crash. Clear Vision, double respawns. Radia is going to be dropping down into 3rd place, but it appears managed to keep going. Yes, did maybe manage to keep going on track and is clear at the moment, and so this is going to be a draw. Unfortunately, all Finland need is one player in the top 2 right now. They will get to 15 points and they will close this match out. And MiQuatro, with all the drama going on behind, gets it done cleanly. Matt gets a PB, so that's nice at the very least. And 2 cards are still out on track. Clear Vision may not even finish the round at this point, G-Geek, but frankly, he doesn't need to. They've locked in their points already. And that'll be Finland taking the win against Brazil. Map 2 a lot closer than Map 1, and I think Brazil just taking a little bit too long to warm up into Map 1, even with the 15-point limit instead of the 10-point limit.
Yeah, it seems as though Bourdon was really the bane of their existence. They were not able to get it just right. It did not gel quite as quickly as they needed it to, and that proved to be very detrimental in their match overall. They were able to come back slightly. I say slightly, that we saw a worldie of a map again from Radia. MTAT, again, a little bit too slow on the uptake, so was not able to really capitalize on the opportunities that Radia were able to seize for Team Brazil. And with that, it will be Team Finland going on a 2-0 scoreline, a lot more one-sided than what we may have anticipated going into this match. And don't worry, we will get into some of the other matches in the first round in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, just checking to see if there are any still ongoing as well, because I mean, I'm looking at that bracket right now, and this was not even the fastest match to end. This match a lot closer though. Italy 2 versus Lithuania 1. Lots of good players in this match as well. And frankly, if you showed me these names pre-tournament, G-Geek, I'm not sure that I would have said, yeah, Italy win this one handily. That's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, currently Italy 2 with iPrime and Bobo looking very, very nicely here with an 11-5 scoreline on the second map, which is actually Mime's map, Addiction, which came up, and Auris and Zyron having a little bit of an uphill battle, and that uphill battle is going to continue to get even tougher, and the hill gets even steeper to climb with that little wall touch from Zidane on the entry into the plastic sausage road, and this time it will be time for Bobo to actually clip at the exit of sector number 1, Auris versus iPrime for the lead.
Yeah, but there goes Prime. He will crash on out. I mean, not a full crash, is just clipping a wheel, but is falling back into the clutches of Zyron, who'll touch on the uphill dirt. And so Italy looking to just lock in their draw on this one. Oris running away from the pack up front should be able to do it, but 11-5, G-Geek, we are already in a position on this map where draws are massively Italian favored.
Yeah, exactly. Draws are definitely going to be very much Italian flavored, and they're Italian favored, and well, Italian flavored in a sense. But I mean, sounds delicious, I guess. But
I guess, Italian, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Italian favored for sure. And yeah, Lithuania with 2 aces worth of points having to climb back. This is going to be very, very tough, because from the little of action that we saw so far on Addiction, they are looking a little bit shaky and not really. They have the means to actually have a response for the Italian team, but just a bit too shaky, not enough rigor in the execution so far. And it looks as though they're trying to solve that problem, as we do have some problems on Bobo. Hang in there, buddy. Don't worry about the warping. We do see Auris going toe-to-toe with both of the Italian team members. Zidane a little bit further back compared to what he would like to be, currently sitting 3/10 down in P4.
Or so close to the outside wall on that uphill dirt, but even getting that close has actually lost speed on the exit compared to both of the Italian players. I mean, what a performance from Ipum and Bobo. Both of them past Oris right now, who's fallen back towards his teammate. This could be it. This could be the match right now, as it's ace position for the 2 Italians. They just need to get both cards across the line. They're looking clean, hand in hand. Oris can't quite catch, and that will be Italy 2 with an ace to close things out on Addiction. Map 2 done, and that's Italy 2 moving ahead over Lithuania 1 in this bracket.
Yeah, indeed, and Lithuania having already a setback in their entry to the tournament and being sent down to the lower bracket as a result of that 2-0 loss. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to sift through in this opening round because, again, 32 matches all at once. That's a lot of things to actually keep tabs up. And I think not only we think of that, but also I think our panelists that are going to be joining us in a few seconds are going to be in agreement with that sentiment as well.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the panel. Speaking of them, Max Formal and Padster. And I mean, kind of as we expected, Formal, right? I mean, one-sided, generally speaking, across the opening round of this upper bracket. I do note that I think one of the Australian teams is still going toe-to-toe with someone. Australia 2 versus Czechia 1. Unsure what the results are going to be there just yet.
Not looking great for them.
Look, hey, the Czechia 1 team was the favorite team in that matchup, so that's all well and good. I also heard that the US battle was coming down to the end as well. I kind of lost tabs on that.
But
there you go.
Ooh,
I mean,
interesting. Not massively. The US. There's been some really fun kind of North American and total American. That's not the right word for it. America's team tournaments. You know what I meant. You understood. Hey, no laughing. I heard what you were all talking about during the seeding. Okay,
was USA approved. That's
what it was. USA. Totally, yeah. Listen, but there's been a lot of fun America's tournaments over the last couple of years. You know, these players know each other well, right? And I mean, they've been very close at the top end a lot of the time too. So maybe not massively surprising to see that match come down to the wire.
That matchup, like looking at the teams like Cockney and Neil versus Flimsy and Nixotica, like that actually feels like a coin flip match. So I know we didn't want to cover it because, you know,
it's only
don't want
USA
to just
teams.
have one country. But that was the closest match on paper, and I'm glad to see it's delivering.
Absolutely. I mean, Padster, anything else that stood out to you in this bracket as we went down the list?
I mean, I think that was the big one. I can't spot any other particular surprises. I mean, Indonesia, Croatia is still going, which, like, that Croatia team is Razzie and Ixion. It's a decent team, and Indonesia are making them work for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's only going to be the kind of US battle going to map 3. And I think the US is one of those countries where it doesn't have like one particular standout player, like, you know, you might have in somewhere like Canada. And that means that it's really hard to actually assign who should be on team 1 and team 2, and you end up with 2 very equal teams who are now looking like they're having a very good match between each other. But also, Turkey and Czechia 2 are into overtime on map 2 as well.
Oh.
So,
well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's Elcon on Czechia 2 as well.
Interesting.
That's
Elcon
and
so it's the Czechia teams.
If I may interject, Turkey has Chemko, 2-time Asia Oceania Trackmania champion, and 6-time winner of Trackmania World Tour MEA events, along with Birdie as part of Team F10 and Third Esports. So I'm not all that surprised to see Chemko being able to stand on his own against Elcon, but still kudos to Turkey 1 for continuing to hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think for now, while Turkey continue to hold on, we're going to throw things to a quick break as we start to get ready for the next round of matches as well. We'll be back with the second round, and I think we're going to head upper bracket as well with that one. So some exciting Trackmania to look forward to on our next round. See you soon. Don't go anywhere. Trackmania Games continuing after a short break.